Hello, everyone, and welcome to Harv's World for the next episode of Pirates Bay Farm. It's a big day, very exciting news today. But first, before we get to that, I would like to welcome Patrick Snyder, Darren M., Luis Hernandez, Mortifer Stein, Matt McGiffin, Jeremy Langen, Hogger1106, Kip Tenoy, Larry Farrell Nolan, Duncan Smith, and Mike Rennie to Harv's World. Welcome very much, and all of those anonymous subscribers that always seem to get left out. Many anonymous subscribers. But big news today, I got a call this morning, and the Fendt is here. The Fendt has finally made it to the island. For those of you who don't know, everywhere I go, I have a personal Fendt 1050 that travels with me, and for many weeks now, it has been held up in customs by the less than stellar government around the area. I finally went down there, gave them 10,000 bits of incentive to get my tractor to me, and it is here. So I am driving down to the dock right now to take possession of the Fendt. I have been looking forward to this. It's going to be so helpful on the farm. You know how big the farm is at this point. So let's see, what have we got? I don't see a Fendt. I see a pink tractor. Surely not. That's no Fendt. Alright, hang on. I gotta run in and talk to these guys. Find out what the heck is going on. Well, apparently there's been a mix-up. They apparently thought this was the Fendt. It most assuredly is not. I had to fill out some additional paperwork. But they said that they were releasing this tractor to me. Ugh. It's ugly and pink and in really crappy condition. They said they apologized for the mix-up, that I could use this tractor until they get the right one here. I hope they get the right one here very soon. Because, yeah, this is no Fendt. You know, that's been one of the frustrating things about the island. The new government doesn't know what they're doing. They really don't. You know, I can't even get fertilizer on this island, which I guess isn't that surprising. But at the same time, I wish they'd get their poop in a group. Because, well, let's just say these types of things seem to be happening more and more often. Not to mention, they just threw this one at us the other day. Very annoying. So you know how crappy the bridges are, right? The bridges around here are horrible. You've seen us rocking and rolling across these stupid bridges. Well, 40% infrastructure tax. 40%. Talk about unstable government. It's outrageous. So basically, everything that I produce now is going to be half the value that it was before. Very annoying, very frustrating to say the least. It's I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. I do know that this tractor has got to be repaired before it's going to be worth any $3,100 for repairs on this thing. Oh my gosh. Well, I guess at least I have an additional tractor to use now. But still, the price is yeah, the price is outrageous. So anyway, it's a big day for another reason on the farm. We're just going to do the best we can, I suppose. It's a big day on the farm also because it's logging day. It's time to bring out the trees. And I don't know if you can see here, but I realize this is a much bigger job than I can handle on my own. I mean, we're talking about 150 trees here. That's going to be a big, big, big job. And so I've hired a couple of guys, a logging crew. These guys are professionals. They know what they're doing. And we've got Martin and Anton here, ready to go to work. Good morning, gentlemen. We have a big, packed day ahead of us pulling logs. Are you ready to get started?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm ready to get started.
All right. Well, one of you can jump in this truck. I've got all the equipment ready to go. Somebody else can jump in the yellow truck. I'll grab this ugly tractor. I need to get my my trailer back to the farm at some point. But I guess I'll use this to tow the third trailer here. But yeah, our trees are ready to come out. And that is important because that really, truly, officially begins phase 1 of making the rum. Outstanding. So these guys are going to follow me back up to the farm, and we are going to start cutting and hauling trees. Just so you know, I leased the equipment. I did not buy it. I will need to buy it at some point in the not too distant future, I know, but for now, leasing was the only option. So, man, I'm so disappointed about the Fendt. Yeah, buying this equipment was just going to be way too expensive, so leasing is how I have to go to get started on this. And especially now that there's that 40% tax, good God, the money is going to really start to slow down. So anyway, we're going to get this stuff back up to the farm and start harvesting some trees. We'll see you up there. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let me get this ugly tractor out of the way. Not there, though. I'll pull him over here. Okay. Well, as you can see, our trees are massive. And definitely ready to come out. 150, at least 150. And I noticed there might be a few trees around here that we can just pluck also, just to get some extra wood working. But tell these guys to, yeah, we're going to need to keep the log trailer open up, and you guys can start unloading equipment. See, I've got a heavy loader because I know timber is going to be very, very, very heavy. We've got a beautiful, beautiful tree harvester right here that is not being driven very well by Martin. He's falling off the trailer. Now, let me grab this thing. Yeah, we need to release some straps yet. Well, there's at least one strap still holding us in. There we go. I even have a stump grinder, by goodness, by God. See if I can get it out of these claws. There we go. Perfect. Works like a chump. Okay. Well, it looks like Martin's set up ready to cut some trees. Actually, I'm going to go grab this tractor and just, I guess I'll use it for stump grinding at the moment. I don't have any other need for it. I do have Big Boy out working on field 44 at the moment, cultivating it, because that field just perpetually needs work. With a little bit of luck, we will get logs delivered to our sawmill today. Looks like they are getting organized, arranged, whatever you want to call it. I wouldn't park that in front of the trees. In fact, you know, we need to open some room up here. Otherwise, Martin's not going to have any place to put his trees. This might get in the way of Big Boy when he comes around to cultivate this field, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I don't think so, though. I think we'll be okay. And the first tree comes down. Outstanding. Look at that beast. Look how massive that thing is. I hope he's planning to cut these into smaller sections. There we go. Outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Oh, these are some big old trees. If you cut that one more, yep, there we go. Okay, very good. In fact, I think I'm going to run over to the farm and get my small truck, because those little end pieces are going to get in the way. But we are going to be cutting trees. Catch up with you in a little bit. Well, there goes Anton and Martin. Let me tell you, those are two hard-working fellas. They did a great job, and they're going to run the equipment back down, get that taken care of for me. I have the very last load of logs getting ready to run down to the sawmill, and when we get down there, we're going to check that out because it's been working hard also. Once the first log started going in, that thing really cranked up and has been doing an amazing job. So we're going to take a look at that and find out exactly how Global Company functions in the sawmill department. We'll catch up with that in just a little bit. Here we are back at the sawmill for the last time today. And we're going to take a look at this sawmill and see exactly what it does. It obviously takes the timber right off the truck, which is very, very handy. And I'm going to park up over here because I'm just going to end up running this back down to the shop anyway. But yeah, wow. We didn't even take all 150 trees. We only took the ones that were just directly planted. Man, those guys were a big help. I would not have gotten that job done today if it was just me. And they are getting paid 10 grand for their work. So, yeah. It wasn't a cheap venture It wasn't a cheap venture at all, but still, it was very much worth the help. Now, and I should turn my HUD back on so you can see what's going on here. There we go. Okay. So you can see after harvesting probably was about 138 trees, I would say. We've got 2,234,699 liters of wood stacked up in here. Now, as we unloaded the trees, they all get put into these holding areas, if you will, whatever you want to call them. This will hold up to 10 million liters of wood. So there's plenty of room for more in here. Now this sawmill, and it's our first look at Global Company and what Global Company will do for us, because that's what we're using to make our rum. If we come over here, we can see that the sawmill has inputs and outputs. Now the inputs are obviously logs, and it is 22% full. The sawmill now is producing bars or beams, and it's been cranking. It has been cranking through this wood. Got 50,000 liters of bars at this point. The boards are completely full at 120,000 liters. Then there's 10,000 liters of bark mulch, 10,000 liters of sections, and 10,000 liters of wood chips. Now I'm going to need, and we can see right here, this is our wood chips. And then if we come back around to this side, we can see all of the other products that this sawmill is producing. Boards right here, beams, this would be sections, and then this over here, it looks like wood chips, but this is actually the bark mulch right here. Now you would think I just pull a forklift right up here to unload the pallets. It doesn't work that way in Global Company. If I want wood chips, I'm going to come here under this spout and pull the wood chips. Now I will need the wood chips. It is going to be part of making the rum. The boards and the beams are what I'm concerned about, because those are going to be needed to make pallets and barrels. At this point, I really need to get the pallet factory in place, because I need pallets to make barrels also. So I need to start producing pallets as soon as possible. That's going to be an expensive part of this. But if I open the Global Company menu, I can see right here the one factory I have is the small sawmill. I can open an overview menu of the sawmill right here. And right now it says it's disabled. The reason it's disabled is because it can't make any more boards. Once one of these sections fills up, then it won't produce anything else until we relieve it. So that's where we're at right now. Now when I'm in the small sawmill menu, if I were to click on boards, I can say, well, it's asking me if I want to spawn pallets, and I can add as many pallets here as I want to. Up to, we should have 24 pallets at this point. Yes, we have a total of 24 pallets. So if I say spawn 4 pallets, now I've got 4 pallets out here sitting in the yard ready to be, pallets of boards ready to be moved wherever I want to move them. Just like any traditional standard pallet. And better than that, the sawmill, since it's no longer full, will start functioning again. We can see the sawmill status is now active. It's going to be processing more logs to fill up those boards again. So we are doing quite well in the wood processing at this point. I still have all of these trees. These are going to be easy to do because I could literally cut them with a chainsaw and drag them with a winch or something right over here and put them into the sawmill. So the trees down here are going to be basic compared to the work that Martin and Anton and I had to go through to take care of those 135, 140 trees that we just pulled out next to the BGA. That was a lot of work, let me tell you. Even for 3 of us, that was a lot of work. But those guys did a great job. I'm going to run this back down to the shop. And I also need to start thinking about sugarcane, because that's going to be needed for the rum also. So let me run this back to the shop, get back to the farm. We are going to talk a little bit about pirates. We've talked about successful pirates up until now. We're going to talk about an unsuccessful pirate. And the pirate we're going to be talking about today, unsuccessful pirate, his name was Steed Bonnet. Or Steed Bonnet. A very strange man for being a pirate. Someone you never would have believed would turn to a life of piracy, but he did. He even had some infamous run-ins with the famous Blackbeard, which maybe should have swayed him from his course of piracy, but alas, it did not. We'll get to him in just a minute, but for now, all I want to do is get my equipment in this field and see what we got working here. Fold that header and just park this truck up right about here. Will do. And I am curious, we've not planted much of anything in this field except for cotton, so I'm curious to see what it's going to do with another crop. And hopefully, with a little bit of luck, these sunflowers might just bring in the additional money I need to get my pallet production going, but I'm still going to need more equipment because, well, I think this is going to turn into my sugarcane field. So the question now is, who was Steed Bonnet? Well, talk about a man with a midlife crisis. He was in his late 30s. Now, this guy had been a major in the British Army. He owned a plantation in Barbados that made him a very nice income. He had a large estate. He was producing sugar, as a matter of fact. And he is, in fact, maybe, in fact, the only pirate in pirate history to have purchased his own ship. The man's in his mid to late 30s. He's got all the money he could ever want. His plantation is bringing in plenty of cash, and all of a sudden, he buys a ship and sails off to become a criminal. Now, one theory is that he had a remarkably unpleasant relationship with his wife and just wanted to escape. We'll never know the truth of it, but just a few years later, 2, maybe 3 years later, he was hanged in Charlestown in the U.S. colonies for piracy. Now, he was not a successful pirate. He bought a pirate ship, he hired a crew, and he knew nothing about being a ship captain or anything about the sea. What does this tell you? It tells me he was nuts. But that's just me. No, I mean, really. He was paying his crew wages, and that's really what kept him from being deposed as a captain, because it became obvious fairly early on that he had no clue what he was doing. But the crew was getting paid, so they seemed to be happy. And in fact, they did take a few small ships. Now, Bonnet's ship was named the Revenge. It had a whopping 10 cannons on it. They did pirate some ships, mostly because he did hire a skilled crew. He was smart enough to do that. And at one point, he's sailing around in Florida, where he runs into good old Blackbeard. Now, Blackbeard appreciated Bonnet because he was an educated and pleasant person. He liked being around him. And in fact, Bonnet's nickname at the time was the Gentleman Pirate. Or he was also known as the Pirate Gentleman. And so they started sailing together. He and Blackbeard started sailing together. And Blackbeard realized just how incompetent Bonnet was and convinced him to let one of his crew take over Bonnet's ship, to captain the ship, at which point Bonnet became a guest on Blackbeard's ship, the Queen Anne's Revenge. And in fact, when Blackbeard went to Charlestown and blockaded the harbor, if you remember, Blackbeard blockaded the harbor in Charlestown, and his only demand was a case of medical supplies. Bonnet was there with him. Only he was just a guest on the Queen Anne's Revenge. Someone else was sailing his ship. So Blackbeard, even though he did appreciate Bonnet's good manners and well-educated manner, he also knew that Bonnet was an easy mark and could be taken advantage of. So ultimately, and let me get this harvester unloaded before we get to ultimately. I'm not doing too bad for sunflower seeds on this field, actually. I mean, it's not going to bring any major cash, but So once the siege of Charlestown, where Blackbeard blockaded the harbor, was over, Blackbeard convinced Steed Bonnet that he should go to Bath in the North Carolina colony. Bath was actually where Blackbeard kept a home. In fact, they even know what house that was in. But we're not talking about Blackbeard specifically. We're talking about Steed Bonnet. Blackbeard convinces Bonnet that he should go to Carolina and ask the governor for a pardon. And Bonnet says, "Hey, that's a good idea. I'm going to go do that. I can clear my name, blah, blah, blah." Well, while he's away, Blackbeard takes pretty much anything that isn't nailed down off of Bonnet's revenge. Anything of value, all of the good crew members, and he leaves Bonnet with just 25 pirates to sail his ship. He does leave him the ship, but there's nothing of value left on it. Now, Bonnet had initially planned to take advantage of the pardon. Instead of being a pirate, he was going to switch his ship into a privateer and help England fight the war against Spain at the time. Hoped to get some letters of marque to fight the Spanish. Blah, blah, blah. Well, when he realized what had happened, he renamed his ship the Royal James. Now, at this point, he was still looking at potentially joining in the war against Spain, but soon realized that was not going to happen for him. So what does he do? He returns to a life of piracy and vows revenge on this fellow Blackbeard who had just swindled him out of all of his good loot and his crew. Now, Charlestown, needless to say, is quite upset by what's been taking place off of their coast and decides to hire some pirate hunters. Now, they were in particular looking for the pirate Charles Vane, who was exceptionally notorious. Unfortunately, Bonnet did capture a few more ships, and one of the last that he captured was near the Carolinas. And the pirate hunters searching for Vane and for Blackbeard happened to be in the vicinity at the time, and they tracked him down. Now, it was a pitched battle that lasted for 5 hours between the pirate hunters and Bonnet and his crew, so something to be said for the man there. But ultimately he actually ended up surrendering, was taken into custody. He sent a letter to the governor asking for an additional pardon and was denied. And at this point, he has his trial. He's sentenced, and he and 30 other pirates are all hanged together on the same day. So this is a midlife crisis that did not end well. Be happy with what you have, ladies and gentlemen. Doing otherwise could kill you. No, that's not true. But it was in the case of Steed Bonnet. For whatever reason, whether he was bored, it just reminds me of the rich bad boy types that we have in the world today. It's the same kind of situation. They get bored because they don't have to work for anything. They've got all the money they could possibly need. Why do something as tedious and time consuming as work when you can just go out and make trouble for other people. But it doesn't end well. And it did not end well for Steed Bonnet, one of the least successful pirates in pirate history. Even though he had tons of money to throw at the problem, it still didn't help him. Well, that is the last of the sunflowers. The absolute last of them. Get this header folded up. See if there's still room in the trailer. I think we got pretty close to 40,000 liters. I'm going to find out here in just a second. Maybe that trailer's full. Wow, cab view. That was throwing me off. No, that trailer is not full. I just can't target to save my life, apparently. Not from the cab. With a little luck, it'll hold the rest. Yeah, not too shabby for a small field. It's not going to make a great profit. If we're lucky, we can get 800 per 1,000. So 800 times roughly 40, maybe 38. Pretty close to full, though. And I don't think I will be selling those off today, because I have other fish to fry at the moment. I have to jump back over to the grass field. And as you can see, my worker did finish mowing the grass field again. I still haven't emptied, fully emptied the last bunker silo I filled with grass and made silage out of. It's still being processed by the biogas plant. I'm going to keep working on getting that emptied out so I can make my digestate and get a little bit more money coming in here, hopefully. At this point, well, about another 8, 9, 10 trips between here and the bunker silo, because the last time this brought in 375,000 liters of grass. This field takes a lot of work, but hey, at least I get my digestate, and that's what's really important. But I'm going to collect a whole lot of grass, go get that equipment put away, the sunflowers stored up in the silo until the prices come up a little bit. Very productive day, especially getting all of those trees processed and industry up and running. That sawmill, I might have to find a place to store some pallets so that I can keep that sawmill cranking them out and transfer them where I need them as I need them. I'll cross that bridge at another time, however. I think that's going to do it for this episode of Pirates Bay Farm. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do me a favor. Remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. And look forward to the Harv's World Farming Face-Off. If you don't know what that is, check out my channel. I have a promo on there that gives a little bit more information. Maybe you have what it takes. Maybe you want to participate in the Harv's World Farming Face-Off. If you do, jump into my Discord. All the information is right there. I really appreciate you coming along for the ride. And until next time, take care.